The worsening humanitarian crisis in Ukraine. An attempt to evacuate civilians from 5 Ukrainian cities today seems to have largely failed. Moscow agreed to establish humanitarian corridors, but Ukraine claims Russian troops resumed shelling on the route leading away from the city of Mariupol. While some residents of the northern city of Sumy have reportedly managed to flee. Ukraine's government shared this video that you see right here, which shows Red Cross buses evacuating people before nightfall when the ceasefire ends. While Sumy has seen heavy civilian casualties, local authorities say an airstrike last night killed at least 21 people. Well, despite the increasing death toll, the Ukrainian military says that Russia is seeing major setbacks and its advance has slowed significantly.
It's almost 2 weeks since Russia invaded Ukraine, but the capital still stands. The anthem, now a morning ritual. While Russian shelling continues to leave its scars on Ukraine, like here in the key battleground of Kharkiv, the people fight on. Go home, they chant, standing just meters away from their armed adversaries. Speaking from Kyiv, where he has vowed to remain, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that peace was possible. So we will talk. We will insist on negotiations until we find a way to tell our people this is how we will come to peace. At Kyiv's central station, the exodus to western Ukraine and beyond continues. Lviv's mayor said the city is buckling under the pressure, struggling to feed the hundreds of thousands seeking refuge and dealing with the hundreds of thousands more who pass through this city before traveling on to other countries. As of today, Lviv has become the refuge for 200,000 people who moved to Lviv hiding from bombardments and rocket strikes. I want to appeal to all international organizations for help. We need your support. We need your direct participation here in Lviv. Ukrainian officials speak of a slowing Russian advance. But as the shelling continues and civilian casualties rise, the horrors of this war remain devastatingly clear.
Alexandra von Namen is at the front lines of the refugee crisis. She's in Lviv, which has become a hub for Ukrainians fleeing Russian attacks. Alexandra, are refugees still pouring into Lviv where you are, and what are they sharing with you about their experiences?
People that are arriving here have been through a lot. They are telling us about the ways how they escaped Russian artillery assaults, how they had to hide in their basements. And many of them are deeply traumatized. Let's take Tatiana, for example. I met her here. She is from Kharkiv, and we started talking in Russian because she is from the Russian-speaking part of the country, and she told me about her beautiful hometown that I also know. And then she bursted into tears because she reminded herself that parts of the city now are turned into rubble. And she was worrying sick about her mom, who decided to stay there, and she doesn't know whether her mom is okay or not. And as you can see, there are a lot of such stories that we are hearing, and people want to share them because they want the world to know what's happening here.
I mean, you're in Lviv, which has turned into a hub for people trying to make it to safety as best they can. Can the city still handle the influx of refugees?
Well, the more people arrive here, the more difficult it's going to be. According to the mayor, the city is being stretched to its limits already. And he also said today that it could be that in the near future they will not be able to provide the refugees with a safe place to stay. Of course, what people need is food, warm clothes, medicines, but first and foremost, they need a place to stay. They are staying in hotels, they are staying in apartments, but we met a number of people today who told us that they don't have a place to stay, and that is one of the reasons why we are here at the railway station, that you can see behind me that there are still a lot of people trying to get to the Polish border, trying to get to Poland, to other European countries to feel safe there.
Alexander von Amen reporting from Lviv in Ukraine. Alexander, thank you so much for your continued coverage. And I'd like to take you now to the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv, to Kira Rudyk. She's a member of the Ukrainian Parliament and leader of the liberal pro-European Holos Party. Kira, a very warm welcome to DW News on day 13 of this war. I just want to ask you, how are you coping?
Hello, thank you for having me. Well, it's 13th day and our cities are still standing, though the whole world was saying that we will fail after 24 to 48 hours. So I'm like, watch us. I am super devastated and hurted by all the pain and suffering that I see, when the refugees are fleeing through Kyiv, when we are taking refugees from the outskirts of Kyiv that were bombarded by the Russian missiles and bombs. I am super frustrated when we see children in bomb shelters, but I'm also motivated because I see my resistance team training, because I see so many people in Kyiv, in the whole country, helping each other. And we are getting ready to give Russian forces that are coming to the capital and will come here pretty soon. We are happy to give them a good fight, because what they are trying to take from us, they will not be able to. We are preparing for a siege. We are preparing for a fight. We are preparing for every kind of event. However, there is one thing that we cannot help ourselves with, we cannot use our rifles for, is the Air Force attacks. And this is why we're continuously asking for a no-fly zone or anything in particular similar like the no-fly zone, so we can protect ourselves and so that my country has a chance to win this war.
Now, unfortunately, of course, NATO says they will not be able to provide that no-fly zone is a no-go for NATO. I want to refer to when the invasion was launched by Russia. You posted a photo that went viral. I want to pull that up and show it to our viewers. It's you in your apartment holding a Kalashnikov. You explained how you never held a weapon in your hands before, but you were getting ready to defend your country, and obviously just hearing you speak right now, your resolve to defend your country. Are you ready to fight? I know it's almost a redundant question because you already outlined your resolve.
Yes, I'm ready to fight. I have been training along with my resistance team that we put together the day one of the war. I have been training with them 2 hours every day. So now I'm much better with the rifle than I was when this picture was taken. I'm training and we are being a part of the larger resistance teams, and we are getting ready to oppose Russian troops, to fight Russian troops if they come to the city. We know that the capital has been a major goal for Russians and for Putin personally. And this is why it will be a tough goal to protect it. And this is why we are staying here, men as well as women, to be able to have all the hands that we have that could bear arms, to bear the arms, and to be able to protect what is ours right now.
What is the situation in Kyiv right now? I mean, obviously, we have seen some very worrying developments, Russia unleashing mass bombardments. In terms of the situation in and around Kyiv, what can you tell us about that?
So inside Kyiv, we are doing, I would say, normal, except for the heavy bombarding that is happening. So it's up to 10 times when the sirens go on and you have to go to the bomb shelter. 10 times a day. And imagine it's being like family with the children. So it's terrifying and devastating. And at some point, you feel frightened because you get used to it. This is the worst thing. You get used to your city being bombarded. And we are very worried about the outskirts of the city where people have to leave their homes because they just don't have homes anymore because they were destroyed. And we are worried about the Russian troops surrounding the city. We know that they are trying to take on the entrances and exits to the city, and obviously our goal is not to let them do that. So this is how the fight happens. We want to make sure that we are not under siege, and they are trying to circle the city and do the humanitarian catastrophe as they have done in Mariupol, where children are dying of dehydration. In 21st century, children are dying of dehydration in the European country. Can you believe this? Can you believe that this is happening to us right now? So I will be begging, I will be asking, I will be persuading everybody who is in charge right now to give us the jets, to give us the rockets, to give us the missiles, anything so we can protect ourselves. So in 21st century, children wouldn't have to die of dehydration.
Before I let you go, I mean, everyone, as you've outlined there in very stark terms, is suffering incredibly. This is almost ridiculous to ask you, but International Women's Day is today. What does it mean to be a woman in Ukraine today?
It's when instead of flowers that you are supposed to be carrying today, you are carrying guns. But I'm privileged to be carrying guns today and stand shoulder to shoulder with the men of Ukraine. You know, when Putin was attempting to conquer us, he only calculated men in his math. He didn't calculate that Ukrainian women and the whole Ukrainian nation will be standing up to him. Everybody their own way, but everybody strong as one. And this is why we are fighting him so hard. And this is why in 13 days of war with the largest army in the world, we are still standing. And we will be standing and we will win.
Kira Rudyk, member of the Ukrainian Parliament, thank you very much. We wish you safety.
Thank you, and glory to Ukraine.